Getting up and leaving is my new boundary setting technique. I love it. Around Christmas this year I had an awful experience where my husband's uncle made sexual comments to my 2-year-old. Nobody else in the room reacted. Luckily I had a visceral reaction and stood up and left with my child. This is my new go-to. As soon as any misogyny, transphobia, racism or homophobia appears, I might ask clarifying questions to encourage the bigot to expose themselves, but then no arguing, no yelling, no convincing anyone of anything. I just say okay, that's enough, or I can't continue this conversation, stand up, grab my kid and leave. It's fucking great. Edit got a Reddit cares stay mad trolls. Especially Zulek, who wrote "You're a fucking cunt in my DMs, fucking pathetic, make it public, no need to sneak into my DMs." What kind of sexual comments was this sick man making to a toddler? FFS. I walked out of a whole relationship at 20 weeks pregnant because of a misogynistic comment made by baby daddy. We had just found out the day before we were having a girl, and when he said what he said, followed by the statement "that's just the way I am, deal with it," I knew this was not the type of man I wanted my daughter to have as a role model growing up. He wasn't happy with how I dealt with it, but 17 years later, still the best decision I've ever made. Decades later, I wish someone in my family had stood up for me when I was a child, like you did for your child. Thank you for doing that. Alright, well, I'm heading out. What? You're leaving already? Why? You all just don't sound like the type of people I'd enjoy being around. Happened last night playing games with some randoms after they made LOL pronouns jokes. I have doing this my whole life, and I consider it my superpower. 2 hearts. My perspective is that I will only ever argue with people that I love and care for. Otherwise, if I don't care about them, then I won't waste my energy arguing with them. Setting boundaries firmly, politely terrifies people who think they should be allowed to stomp all over other people's boundaries. It's a great skill to have. I have left numerous family events when my father or brother start being racist and or political around my kids. Agree, 10-10 way to handle it. I normally call them out on the behavior and then pack up and go. Awesome, I read your other thread and I'm sorry you had to endure that. It's disgusting that people can't own their bullshit. I have a lot of bad ideas and I'll be the first to admit it. But to me, the only justification for holding on to bad ideas is a lack of better ideas. Trying to dismiss the harmful effects of bad ideas as jokes is the vestige of cowards, and good on you for not suffering cowards and idiots. That's a power move. Too many people think that staying around because they want to be heard is the best way to make an impact, but absence is very powerful. This is also a good boundary setting technique with toddlers' kids. You want to hit, be aggressive, insist on being unkind or otherwise a bummer that no one is happy to spend time with. No more fun times here. Time to go home. It also works with overgrown kids in their 40s. It is great, but I would never take my kid around that uncle ever again. Edit got a link to ARP's post about that and she said there that she would go and see. Crack on OP, doing everything right. My therapist in my early 20s encouraged me to do this. She honestly saved my life with the advice to just get up and leave. Hell yes. No trying to be nice like all us women have had to do at times. No fake laughing at terrible jokes. Just fucking leave. This is should go viral level advice. My favorite is "You're a waste of time as I leave." Men like this hate hearing that. Actions speak louder than words too when it's already clear what the issue is. Such an action leaves folks to question their alienating behavior and or have others take up the cause sometimes too, I've found. Don't ignore the urge to just leave. I like it. The age of debate is over. We are now in the age of "oh fuck off buddy." Wow. Amazing, love how you said that's enough and left. No explaining, no apologizing. It's really the only power you truly have. You can't change other people's minds or actions, but you can control your own, and remove yourself from an environment you don't like. It's the same idea with the families of addicts. They can't change the addict's behavior, but they're not accepting that behavior anymore and taking a hard line by excommunicating the addict. It's really the only way to not have that in your life, because some people will never change. Sexual comments towards a 2-year-old and nobody said anything or even reacted? WTF, a literal 2-year-old baby? What the fuck is wrong with people? The reality is that 99.9% of the time any arguing, yelling, convincing, etc. will have no effect. Why expend that emotional effort on people who aren't capable of actually sitting down and rationally considering their biases in the first place? Waste of time and waste of effort. Awesome job enforcing strict boundaries against shitbags like that. My wife and I are expecting, and some of both sides of our family have some of your uncle's tendencies, so I'm glad you shared this as it's reassuring to see how it worked out for you. We're both very conflict averse, and so I think leaving is the best option to make a point but avoid getting into an ugly back and forth. Same, guess why? Telling nothing and do like if nothing happens, to keep the peace is on fact just let people abuse others. I remove myself from such situation, so I keep my peace. People who does not accept that are the ones who shift the blame to enable abusers. I've been doing this now for about a year. Sometimes I fail, but mostly I'm sticking to it. And I agree it's amazing. I love this and encourage all women to leave at the first sign of disrespect, microaggression, or gaslighting, especially in dating situations. Jesus, I just finished reading your original post re your husband's gross uncles, and just wanted to say you and your husband handled the situation like an absolute boss. If everyone exercised the same backbone you two have in the face of misogyny, the world would be a much better place for it. Honestly, I'm going to start doing this with my family. I gave up trying to fix them off their garbage bigoted behavior. Thank you, OP, I'm sorry you're going through that bullshit. See, that guy sounds gross. Never justify, argue, debate, explain. My hero. Getting the hell out of Dodge is such a great tool. Work it all you need. There may be many things we don't agree on, but you certainly have my vote on this. No BS, no shit slinging, or anything like that. People can think what they want, but you didn't start it and you didn't continue it. Good on you and your kid. I wish I did this growing up when anyone was mean to me or annoying. Not only when some extremely bigoted things are being said, when someone leaves the room for a minute, that's generally your cue to think about what you just said and potentially change your tune. This post angered men? WTF? Why? Marvelous. You are an example. Good for you. It probably was hard to do the first time, but you were glad you did it. FWIW, this tracks exactly with non-interference. Will probably save you a lot of energy, heartache, and stress over the long run. I wish I'd read this Saturday before I had it out with a cruel, misogynist drama queen. I should have stood up and left. Never again. I've learned to do this. Especially against my brother. A few years ago, my veteran brother fought in Afghanistan, going on about how thieves should have their hand cut off so everyone knows they are a thief. This was on Christmas. I got up, started packing my things and still talking to them. Then finally when I got to the door everyone asked what I was doing, to which I replied, I'm leaving. I don't have to sit here and listen to this nonsense. Good on you, it's better than wasting your time with someone who doesn't share your morals and values. Baffles me just as much as someone sending you a DM to insult you. Like, why? What would you even get out of that? You and your husband are amazing parents. This. Clapping hand sign all. Clapping hand sign day. Clapping hand sign. There's a more powerful move: say nothing at all. Simply get up and leave. No challenge, no explanation, nada. Just leave. Do expect some powerful reactions though. Honestly, I think more people need to do this.